Welcome and thank you for joining me. Today, I'm going to be doing a buyer presentation. This is really what we would talk about if you were coming to my office and we were sitting across from each other at the table. What we're going to talk about today is 10 key steps to home buying process. We're going to talk about the National Association of Realtors settlement that happened in 2024. And then we're going to clarify how real estate agents are compensated and why that matters to you. But most importantly, this is about starting the conversation so we can align your goals, expectations, and your timeline for a successful home purchase here in Hot Springs Village, Arkansas. So let's get started. My name is Fred Monks, and I'm with McGraw Realtors here in Hot Springs Village, Arkansas. And I make real estate videos, news updates, market updates, and things to do in and around Hot Springs Village. So if you would, please like and subscribe to my channel, and let's get started. Here is the first 10 steps to the home buying journey. First, we're going to have a consultation and sign an agreement. We're going to talk about your goals. This is a time for asking questions. I may have some questions for you. You're going to have some questions for me. We're going to see if we're a fit. At that point, if you decide to hire me, we're going to sign a buyer agent agreement, which is typically 4 to 6 months in time frame. So the next thing we do is we secure your financial pre-approval if you're working with a lender or you're going to be a cash purchase. Then we're going to define what your dream goal is in a property. What are you looking for? Are you looking for a larger home? What square footage we're looking for? Are we looking on the east side, the west side? These are some things that we can talk about. Hot Springs Village is the largest gated community in the United States. It's over 26,000 acres, which equates to about 41 square miles. So it's pretty large. So we need to kind of define what area you want to be in, and that's something that I can help you with. At the end of this video, I'm going to connect up a map video that I did that kind of gives you the lay of the land. So you can look at that at the end. And if you have questions too, drop them in the comments or reach out to me, and I'd be more than happy to answer any questions for you. And then we're going to look at finding those properties in the MLS. We're going to try to schedule to go out and see those. I do have a perfect home finder program where I can get you access to off-market properties. Some of these neighborhoods are kind of scarce on listings, so sometimes we can have my marketing team go out and try to search for these properties that may be off market. So the next thing we're going to look at is number 5. We're going to view the properties. We're going to go out and look at the properties. This is the fun part. Get out and look at homes. This allows you to experience them firsthand, ask questions, and we kind of evaluate that property. If this is a property that fits in one of these properties we go out and look at, it's a fit for you, then we craft a competitive offer to the seller. What I typically do once you say, hey, Fred, I like this property, I'm going to evaluate that property just like I was going to list it. I'm going to look at the history on that property, see if there's a history of appreciation. We want to know that. Days on the market, all these things will factor into our offer. And then also too, stepping back just a second, if you're looking at new construction, I represent people in new construction too. So if it's not a pre-existing home, you want to go to new construction, I have several reputable builders here in the village that we can work with to build you a home. Then also, after that, we send our offer in. We're going to negotiate that offer. We may get a counter, so we just see if we can work something out between you and the seller, execute a contract. At that point, we're going to secure your financing. Again, if it's a mortgage or if you're going to be doing cash, we'll give them proof of funds at the time we get a contract in. And then we're going to do our due diligence. Once that house is under contract in Arkansas, it is a non-disclosure state. Seller is not required to give you a seller disclosure, so know that going in. what we'll do is we'll have 10 business days to study that property. That's the time that we want you to hire a home inspector, and we'll give you a list of home inspectors to choose from. You'll hire that home inspector to look at that property, tell us what may be a concern to us, or you as a purchaser. Do you have a HVAC system that's or a water heater that's past its life expectancy? We want to know some of the things down the road that you may have to budget for to repair, and we'll negotiate repairs either off the price or in lieu of those repairs. We may ask for concessions towards your closing. So there's a couple different ways we can do that. Once we get past the inspection and the negotiating of repairs, we'll go to closing. We'll have some processes in there that happen before we close. We'll have a 3 days prior to closing. We'll do a final walkthrough. If the seller, we negotiated the seller to do some repairs, we want to inspect that prior to closing. We'll review your documents, your title work, all these things that will come back from the title company. We will review all your paperwork before you go to closing. So then we're going to look at the National Association of Realtors lawsuit. Let's see, get down here to slide 37. Okay, so the National Association of Realtors, there was a class action lawsuit that happened, and it was settled in 2024. And basically what it did is it uncoupled the disclosure of commissions in MLS. So basically the listing agent is going to negotiate their compensation with the seller. The buyer's agent negotiates his compensation with the buyer. So basically, it's just uncoupled disclosure of commissions in MLS. So there's a couple different ways that this can work. And right here, there's 3 different options. A seller could be offering compensation to a buyer's agent. And a lot of times we'll call the listing agent, hey, is your seller offering compensation to the buyer's agent? And they will disclose that to us. Or the seller is offering some compensation. So if you've and I have agreed upon a 3% compensation for me as your buyer's agent, and the seller was only paying 2.5%, well, you may owe that 0.5% to my brokerage. And then number 3 option is they're not offering compensation at all. And in most cases, I'm not seeing that. I'm usually able to negotiate for the seller to pay my compensations. We write that in the contract. So hopefully this gives you an idea of what's changed over the past few years, especially with compensation, which is a lot of times a big subject for buyers and sellers. So we just want you to know that it's more transparent, and that's just something you need to know up front, and you want to know that. So if you have questions about this quick buyer presentation, please reach out to me with questions. Drop them in the comment below, or text or call me. I'd love to answer some questions for you and help you with your journey to purchasing a property here in Hot Springs Village, Arkansas. And again, thanks for watching to the end. Again, this is Fred Monks, McGraw Realtors, and we'll talk to you soon.